This is normal. We're normal. We're normal people.
Yeah.
Normal people. We're chill. We're cool. We're normal. Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome in. Welcome back if you've been here before, or hello for the first time if you are new. I am Cell. I am your local K-pop gremlin who has a lot of opinions, and I would like to share those opinions with you today on my channel. And today is a special video because I actually have my guest here to the right of me. This is Mars. She is my friend for almost 20 years. I think we've been friends for a really long time, and I have infected her with the K-pop bug. So I have brought her on today to discuss a few things. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, I'm a big K-pop stan, but I'm a baby, but I have really strong opinions, so I can't wait to share them.
Yeah, you got into Stray Kids with me, what was that, earlier this year?
Yeah, literally January, I would say. And it's just been a trip ever since.
It's been downhill, just like sliding downhill the whole time. When you think about it in comparison to a lot of other people, we're both pretty new because I didn't get super into K-pop until 2020. In fact, I didn't really know what K-pop was. I assumed it wasn't something I would like because I was always into metal and rock as a genre. But then I came across Blackpink and I thought that this is really good. And so I got into it only 3 years ago, and there are some people that have been listening to K-pop for years, decades even.
Yeah, and I was not unfamiliar with K-pop before this. I had randomly listened to EXO and Girl Generation several years ago on Spotify after discovering them on Spotify, but never got as deep into it as I am currently.
And now there's no going back, is
There's
there?
no going back.
So today the video we have planned for you all is I came across a tweet on Twitter that said, "Tell me your toxic trait as a K-pop stan." And this original tweet had 17,000 quote retweets. And in the middle of the night last night at 3 a.m., I went through and I screenshot a couple of them, and we are going to be reacting to them today. Essentially, we're going to be talking about whether or not we disagree or agree with the opinion, but also how toxic we would rank it from 1 to 10. Because honestly, some of these people did not follow the prompt, and some of these aren't that toxic in my opinion, but maybe that's just me. We'll see if Mars agrees with me and if you guys agree with me as well. But before we jump into it, as always, if you get a chance and you would like to, please drop a like on this video, leave a comment, or even consider subscribing. I post a lot of content that involves K-pop opinions and discussions, and also occasionally do reactions to music videos. So if that's something you would like, you can find more of that on my channel. So thank you, everyone. The last thing I want to say is I do want to plug our other socials real quick before we jump in. My friend Mars actually runs a Stan Tumblr. If you guys are still on Tumblr, will you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I run a Stray Kids stan Tumblr at Nunaracha if you ever want to take a visit. That's really where I'm only active on social media at the moment.
She makes her own GIFs, or GIFs if you say it like that. I
think
say
it's
GIFs. I say
sounds
GIFs.
right.
People
Yeah.
get very mad at me when I say that, so please don't leave a hate comment if you say a GIF. It's okay to be wrong. I will leave a link to that Tumblr down in the description box below, and then I am really active on Twitch. I'm a live streamer. I mostly play Animal Crossing over at twitch.tv/Slendria, but although I play cozy games, we often talk about K-pop. So if you are into live content and you want to come chat, that's where you can find me 3 days a week. Okay, without further ado, let's pull up our first tweet, our first toxic opinion. And I'm actually going to go in a different order. I should tell you guys, I was supposed to say this earlier, we actually have seen these tweets before because we spent an hour recording this already, and only after we finished recording this, I realized that my microphone was muted in my recording software. So we wasted essentially an hour talking about K-pop, so I had fun. But if it seems like we've seen these opinions before, it's because we've actually run through them one time. So please forgive us for those technical difficulties. Maybe I'll go in a different order from the first time. So let's shake it up. Okay. Opinion number 1. I don't listen to the song if I don't hear my bias's voice for at least 20 seconds or more. My ears will reject it. So this was the tweet where a person was very upset if their bias doesn't get enough in the line distribution. They literally won't listen to the song.
Hearing that out loud, it just sounds so dramatic. Like I It'll
Has
rip apart my phone and my headphones if I don't hear my bias for more than
has
20
to be.
seconds.
If it's 19 seconds, if it's 19 seconds, I won't do it. If it's
And
18
I
seconds,
understand that people keep track of those things. I think it's really interesting to see what they call them, the line distribution videos and stuff like that. I think that's cool.
I like when they
It
make it
doesn't
like,
really affect me if my bias doesn't have a certain number of lines.
I like that those videos, they'll make them really pretty. They'll have like a whole color scheme and stuff like that. And it's really satisfying to kind of see the bars moving around. And I like kind of understand. So there are some groups where people will be kind of particular about who's getting what lines. Like we were talking about Soul from P1 Harmony, who you and I both really like. But I mean, let's be honest, he doesn't get a lot of lines these days, especially not with their recent comeback. I think he got more in Back Down. But with Jump, Soul doesn't have many lines. I should insert, maybe editor Cell will insert like the actual line distribution just to show you guys. Maybe I'm wrong.
We
Maybe I'm
approve.
misremembering it. Cite your sources.
Yeah.
But something else I was thinking of is Mia from Everglow. So I know Everglow is kind of MIA. Have you listened to Everglow at all?
We listen to that song first.
Oh, yeah, you like First.
I love that song.
Yeah, Everglow hasn't had a comeback in a year and a half. And something that people were frustrated about was Mia, one of the girls from Everglow, kind of got a lot of lines and a lot of center time in the dance, and that can make people frustrated. So I think there are certain groups and certain individuals that care a lot about, oh, well, this is my bias. They need more lines as opposed to this person. Is that toxic, though?
You're not in control of the music. Like, it's not your job. You know, the companies and the groups, there's a method to this kind of thing. And even if you feel that sometimes it's unfair, it really shouldn't shake up your whole like listening experience,
What are
especially
you?
for your bias.
Are you saying K-pop stans don't control everything?
They, as
What?
much as they want to, they really don't. And sometimes I understand, sometimes, I have definitely felt a sense of betrayal if someone didn't get as many lines as I thought that they would, or maybe should, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe the line distribution felt very uneven,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I can't do anything about it unless I remix the song and add more lines to it.
You do cool remixes, though.
I try sometimes. Sometimes.
Well, I'm going to rank this as, I don't think it's really toxic. I kind of understand it. I think if somebody's sitting there and checking every single line distribution and deciding not to listen, that would be kind of cringe. But I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem with these tweets. You can't really tell who's being how serious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've learned with like my brush ups with K-pop stans, it's like you kind of have to take them seriously.
They take things very serious. It's a very serious business. You don't
Yeah.
understand. So what would you
I
rank
think
that?
they take it too seriously in a way. So I would give it like a 4 or 5.
Okay. All right. Tweet number 2. I genuinely believe that I know and love my faves on a deeper, more serious way than anyone else.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is like,
Keep that in mind. I'm presuming that everyone else includes that idol's like group members.
no way.
So it's like me saying I know Chan from Stray Kids better than Changbin knows Chan, than Felix knows Chan.
Yeah, that's just like categorically not true. None of us can know them as well as their members know each other.
Do you think that we can ever truly fully know our idols, or do you think that because of the nature of like parasocial relationships, we only get like a snippet of who they really are, you know?
Well, I think that's what's different about K-pop in general is they make a very deliberate effort to have you know the members very intimately, in very typical ways. Like we will know their blood type, their personality type, we'll know their hobbies, and they're very open to sharing certain things with us. But I think that can mistakenly get people to believe that we know them truly, and we don't. Like these are not things that add up to a close personal relationship with them. It'll always be parasocial. And I think we need to, as a group, kind of get together and remind ourselves that like this isn't real. This is like not as real as you think it is.
I think even if you have met them in person at like a fan sign event, or you've had a fan call with them, or you watch all their lives, you're still not seeing all the ins and outs of their everyday routine. You don't know all their deepest fears and their true loves. You don't know if they have a romantic relationship with another person. And I think just to say that, like that person tweeting that, I think just views themselves as so special because they probably spend a lot of time. I looked into that user. I think they're a big Vernon stan who I think is in 17. I'll be honest, I don't follow 17 that closely. I liked their newest comeback though. Super, I think is what it's called. That was a really good song. But I don't follow the members very closely. But to convince yourself that you are the biggest Vernon stan and no one will ever understand Vernon as much as you understand Vernon, like you really need your Delulu pills at that point.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it comes from them trying to fill in the blanks of their personality based on what they do know. Like if someone tells you their zodiac, an idol tells you their zodiac sign and their MBTI, it's like you can know who they are truly. And that's absolutely not true. Like that is such like a poor misconception of our understanding of like how personalities even work. Like you're just trying to fill in the blanks in your head, and I understand that's what humans do. We want to like create this narrative of the people that are important to us in our lives, but you, as far as I know, have not had a one-on-one conversation with this person, and if you had, it's probably like non beyond like a 1 minute fan call
Just like a
with
polite
them.
thing.
Yeah,
If
you will
you
never truly know them.
if you were in the limelight, would you want to be as open and authentic as K-pop idols are kind of expected to be, or would you be a little more private?
um That's really hard to answer. I would really have to think really hard about it, but I would say on the surface, um, I'd want to be as real as
Mm-hmm.
possible. I think to the detriment of the company, I guess,
You'd
because
be like
I
Big
would
Matthew
hate,
from
yeah,
Card.
exactly.
He's
You're horny? Uh-oh.
You're horny? Uh-oh.
I love BM from Card. He just says whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. That.
So we had some flip.
Try it again. Try it again.
We had some technical difficulty and Mars's Wi-Fi dropped in the middle of us recording, which is very homophobic. So on the Wi-Fi's part, I think we were last talking about how BM is sexy and unhinged.
Yes,
Yeah.
but also he's not a good idol.
Oh
But that's
yeah,
okay.
like for the
And I
company.
wouldn't be either because I would want to fight against this narrative that is built around me, for whoever is a fan of me, I guess. But also I can't be like, yeah, I actually suck as a person. Like my personality is awful. Like these are all the toxic things about me. Like please put me off your pedestal. I think there's a balance that needs to be made, in my opinion.
I feel like as a streamer myself, I'm super open. Like I'll just be like, "Hey guys, I had a poop the other day," and they're like, "Good job," Like I really value being open, but for sure I feel like that gives people ammo and people need to be careful about like their privacy, especially at the level that some of these idols are. Like you really have to be careful about what you reveal. So it's a difficult thing you have to strike a balance for.
And not even just like the salacious things, some people have like really unhinged sense of humor.
True.
You kind of want to control that if you're going to be a famous
Maybe
idol.
they're really into feet.
Maybe they're into shit posting.
Like not even like a sex thing. Maybe they're just like really into feet. And we don't need to know that.
Exactly. Not a fan. If you're into that, you do you. Don't really care to know, and therefore I will not claim to know you better than your own family.
Yes. Okay. So going back to it, I genuinely believe I know and love my faves in a deeper, more serious way than anybody else. Mega toxic, like 9 out of 10 toxic. Get off the internet.
9 out of 10. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Go for a walk.
Go touch the grass. So the next one I want to bring up is something that I saw kind of on both sides of the spectrum when I was reading through this, and I grabbed just one to represent the discourse. I think it's fine and logical to start hating a group because of their fans. I have a lot
I get
of
where
thoughts
they're
on
coming
this.
from. I get where they're coming from for sure. I still don't think it's fair to hate the group if they had, as long as they had done nothing to like incite
Like foster
some
that.
kind of vitriol. Yeah, yeah.
Have you had an experience where you've come across like a particularly really toxic fan and that's kind of turned you off from the group itself?
Well, there's that Twitter user I saw who claimed that all boy group stans are misogynists, and that was
Yeah.
hurtful.
And it's just not true.
Not true.
Yikes.
I think if you sway one way or the other, if you're like anti-girl groups or anti-boy groups, I think there's something really wrong with that, with the way
Yeah.
that you look at K-pop in general, for sure. But from what I remember, that user had like I want to say like Blackpink or Luna profile picture. And for a second, I was like, oh, I'm gonna stay away from those stands.
I think like
I think it was Luna. It was Luna.
I think tying in, they're like not even Luna anymore because they kind of split up, right? It was an orbit
Yeah.
essentially. I feel like if we're applying psychological concepts at its core, it's just classical conditioning, right? Like you see one stimulus and you associate with another. You see an orbit, you see a Luna pic, and then you associate it with, wow, this person's a toxic POS, right? But the problem is that usually the idols can't do anything to control their fans. I mean, I've seen Chan from Stray Kids. He's literally gone on a TikTok live and been like, cut this out. So he'll try, but he still can't control every single stay in the fandom. There's still going to be some, especially as fandoms get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just a numbers game, like you said, right? The more people who come into the fandom, the more of them percentage wise are going to be toxic. And genuinely, usually idols can't do anything to stop that. And I think it's a bummer that we can't disconnect ourselves from that online discourse or just being chronically online in order to just enjoy the music, even if one or two or three people you've interacted with are bad. And
that's the name of the game. You know, it's when you're asking for that level of dedication and engagement, you're gonna have the toxicity that comes with that.
I don't really understand how it gets so out of hand for some people because I never engage and have comments back and forth with people on Twitter, but I read a lot of content on Twitter from a variety of different fandoms. And I've seen some really nasty stuff coming from stays sometimes. I think I don't see a ton of stuff from stays, but maybe that's just the content I get on my feed. I've seen a lot of really negative stuff coming from Blackpink fans, BTS fans, ENHYPEN fans, TXT fans. And I like all of those groups a lot. And you know what I just do? Block. Block. You get a block, you get a block, you get a block, you get a mute, you get a mute. And I think that's just been so helpful for my mental health that I'm able to just kind of like set that boundary and say, okay, well, I don't like you. I'm going to delete your comment from my YouTube video. I'm going to block you. And I think that's the mature thing to do is like, I'm going to keep enjoying these awesome TXT albums. But if you're a TXT fan and you're a jerk, I'm just going to block you. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me to see people unfurl, so I can never truly block someone because I would probably miss out on some entertaining
That's
meltdowns because
valid.
it just they make things so much bigger than they really are, and I sometimes worry that there's not much else going on in these people's lives that they're making a
isn't.
big deal out of a K-pop group. Yeah, is that so wrong to think to like be concerned about?
To be entertained by?
Sure, that's my toxic trait or whatever my
Yeah.
my toxic trait because it's just like I get enjoyment out of people like making this their whole world and then just like having one thing just crumble it. It's very concerning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if I were like a teenage K-pop stan, I would probably be acting the same way as well. But I'm an adult with other responsibilities, and I need to just be responsible for myself and not worry about what these other like stan groups are saying, what these other fandoms are talking about, and just not involve myself. I don't have time.
I
don't have the
promise
bandwidth.
the idols don't want you to do that either.
They don't want you to do that. And I don't know who you are trying to prove your dedication to at the end of the day. They won't see this.
At the same time, too, I've done a lot of. So if you guys don't know, if you're watching this, I have a PhD in psychology. And part of my work in grad school was researching group dynamics. And people get a lot of self-satisfaction out of their group having like a higher level in the hierarchy. And especially for individuals who don't really have any successes in their own life and their life doesn't feel like they're getting much reward out of their own life, they're not very happy with their own life, they can displace that satisfaction and that reward from their in-group. And if their in-group is, for example, the Stray Kids fandom or the Blackpink fandom, then if my fandom is the best, my fandom is dominating, I can show this person that they're wrong, we're better. There's a certain subset of people that literally they feel better doing that, which to me, like arguing with people on the internet just makes me feel bad, but it's fascinating. There are some people out there that like that.
I mean, I guess it does give you kind of a rush, right?
Yes, adrenaline, 100%.
And you do feel like you love this group and you want to like show your love in some kind of way, I guess. And if this is all you have time to do, then I guess it's the way it is.
Couldn't be me. So is it toxic
can't
though
do
to
it.
not like the group?
Yes,
I agree.
it's so weird. Yeah, I think it's maybe like a level 6. Maybe I rank it a 6
I'm
out of
gonna
10 toxic.
I'm gonna give it an
Like,
8.
okay,
Because like
maybe a 7.
I can kind of understand where people are coming from because of that classical conditioning thing, but I really think that we need to be more mature and be able to separate the music from the fandom. And if some people in the fandom are bothering you, please just block them. Just block the people that suck. Stop engaging with them. Stop platforming them. Block them and move on. I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but that's my recommendation. I give this an 8 out of 10. This next tweet kind of also represents both sides of the coin, and there was a lot of tweets revolving around this discourse. I don't buy albums nor ever vote or anything. I'm just here to chill. And this could also refer to streaming as well. So a lot of people were saying, I don't purchase albums. I don't sit there and stream over and over again. I don't vote or anything like that. I'm still a part of the fandom and I'm here chilling and I love these groups, but I'm not going to put in any of that extra effort. Toxic?
I guess it depends on the intentions behind posting that. Like, are you trying to say that you're better than us because you don't care as much? I think
Yeah, like I can't be
we-
bothered.
Yeah, and there's definitely different levels of engagement that's valid for everyone. Everyone has a different situation in their life. I don't really know what it means to vote because I'm a Western K-pop fan and I have no idea how that works. But I can buy albums. I live next to multiple K-pop stores. I love getting that kind of stuff for my collection. But I would never look down upon anyone who decides to opt out of that kind of thing. That's what streaming is for, and that's what YouTube is for.
I also, we finished our 5-star collection. Like all of us bought all the versions. We also bought
I'm not done. I don't think I'm done yet, though.
Are you gonna get more digipacks?
There's more digipacks to be bought.
We bought 2 versions of the new ATEEZ album each. I have a couple of TXT albums. I have Tricky House album by Psychers. I have a variety of things. In terms of streaming, like if I really like a group, I'll stream their music video for about 30 to 50 times. And that's it. I won't do any more than that because I have a full-time job. I'm a content creator on the side. I go to the gym. I have a husband. And the last thing I want to be doing is putting off some of my responsibilities to be sitting here streaming over and over and over and over again. I'll spend the money on albums in part because I like collecting things. Like I collect a bunch of things, so that brings me satisfaction too. But the flip side of that, though, let's consider. I found another tweet that kind of represents the flip side that says, it's okay if you don't stream or vote, but you have no right to bring up the achievements like you're a part of the people who really worked hard for their faves to get those achievements, especially for those of you who don't do shit but actively are involved in fan wars.
So it's okay, but it's not okay. Is what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's okay, but like, you then can't brag about the group and their quantitative achievements if you did nothing to help in those achievements.
What?
Because, for example, Stray Kids beat the record for most pre-orders for the 5-star album. But, for example, I believe this Twitter user would say if you didn't also pre-order an album, you can't use that metric to brag about Stray Kids.
What?
So would you disagree with
personally?
that? I guess.
Yeah, because why did you not buy an album? Maybe because the pre-order sold out in 2 seconds.
True.
And
Maybe you
you
didn't
really
have
wanted
enough.
the signed copy. Yeah.
You didn't have enough money this
You
paycheck.
didn't have enough money. There was no way it was going to get delivered to you. Whatever. You don't have access to it.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think it's still pretty cool to say hey, this group that I really like, they have reached this level of recognition to have the biggest number of pre-orders, which is a very interesting feat in itself because we had not listened to a single song that came from the album.
We just knew it was going to be good.
we just had a feeling. We just had a feeling that this was going to be the one, And so we bought our copies ahead of time. But if you can't do that, I'm totally fine with you streaming the album. Totally fine with you watching the YouTube videos, because it's not our record or whatever to claim anyway. It's all in the group and the talent, that they cultivate, whatever, that they exude in their work. It's just It's not about you.
I just don't like when people use achievements to brag anyway, because I'm very anti-fan wars, and I think that it's really annoying when people are like, well, TXT is this. Well, Stray Kids is the 4th gen leader because of this. It's like, I really could not be bothered to be a part of that. So I think that everyone should have the right to feel pride in these quantitative achievements for their groups, but should never use it to demean others. It's kind of where I draw the line. That's what's toxic.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the original tweet, if we rate it as toxic, I don't buy albums nor vote or anything. I just chill. I think that's like not toxic at all.
It's a 2 for me, I guess. You know, just don't come off. Just don't think you're better than us.
Yeah, like I've never
don't care
purchased
as
an
much.
album. Imagine spending money on an album. Like, who cares?
Once you do, you will not go back.
It's true. It's very addicting. 2 out of 10, not very toxic. This one is relevant to us as big Stray Kids fans. I can't stand nor really like a group that doesn't write / produce their own music, or at least is quite involved in the process.
I didn't want to think that Stray Kids ruined K-pop for me. You know, when you realize like how uninvolved other groups are with their own music, you know, you can definitely say that Stray Kids is rare in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I think that's what makes them special, obviously, and I think that's why I like them a lot. But pop stars not making their own music is nothing new, and I would not hold it against any of these other groups who are really talented. But you know, they just don't write their own music. They don't produce their own music. Whatever, it's fine. When I saw Blackpink, I was blown away by their performance. I thought they were all super talented, and I loved every single minute of their set. I don't think they write their own songs or whatever. Not that I'm aware of.
Potentially the rap line maybe helps participate in the rap writing, but from my knowledge, maybe somebody correct us in the comments if we're wrong, I don't think Blackpink has much creative control over the lyrics. I mean, I won't say, you know, I won't go as far like you said to say that it has ruined K-pop for me, because music is collaborative, right? And sometimes the best content comes from the collaboration of multiple people, and sometimes the people who are really good at writing music aren't great at singing, aren't great at rapping. So then it would be silly in my mind to completely let their skills go to waste because they can't sing. If you have a really good composer and a really good lyricist who can't sing, their talent is going to waste if they aren't allowed to give that to somebody who can sing and they can't collaborate. And that just feels really silly to me, to say that we could only enjoy groups or stan individuals or idols or musicians that can do everything. That being said, I do get a lot of pride watching Chan getting no sleep, huddled over his computer. I just rewatched Kingdom, right? We just watched Kingdom together, and watching him rewrite God's Doo-Doo-Doo or whatever, Doo-Doo-Doo-Doo, their like third performance, he essentially rearranged a Blackpink song, and knowing how hard he works for that does give me a lot of pride. But I just, again, like the last thing that we just talked about, I think when people use that to demean other groups is just where it becomes obnoxious and no one cares. No one cares.
Yeah. It's not the flex that you think it is when you want to compare your group to other groups. And there are so many other players involved in other parts of making a whole song. Stray Kids does not master their own music. They don't completely produce or arrange their own songs anyway. So no one is ever 100% self-produced in this industry.
No.
And we kind of have to just accept that and take the music for what it is. And if you like it, you like it.
This person says they can't stand a group that doesn't write or produce their own music. I think that's kind of toxic, to be quite honest. I'd give that like a 5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 6.
I think they're missing out on really good music. Well, I see where they're coming from, and I like slightly agree. I think they're missing out on really good songs.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those people who would say that if they say that they're self-produced and they're lying. I don't think that's the case most of the time. So I don't want them to feel like they're deluding themselves into thinking that there are actually self-produced groups out there. But still, you kind of take both in this industry.
Are you saying that people are lying about being self-produced?
People have claimed that Three Racha is not real, basically.
What? Who?
Yeah. Redacted.
Do I know this person?
No, it's just people I know in my life.
Weird. I've never heard that claim before. That would be a really big twist, right? Because aren't they in this KOMCA or something like that?
Right. They get credited for their contributions and they get royalties accordingly.
Oh my God,
you're not supposed to lie about that.
it's almost like in grad school where professors will put their grad students on publications when their grad students did like literally nothing just to get them the publication.
Yeah.
Unless I
think
see
we've
proof, though, I
witnessed-
think that's BS, though.
No, I think we've witnessed, people like Chan enough to know that he actually knows what he's doing when it comes to producing. So I don't think he's lying.
Fingers crossed.
I hope not.
That
I
would
really
be
hope I didn't really,
crazy. This one I think is wild. Is one of the more wild ones. I'm gonna defend my men no matter what. Did they kill somebody? It was probably deserved. And like, we're not entirely sure this person 100% means what they say, but I think there's a grain of truth in this comment.
Oh, absolutely. I think when you really think about it, you have to sit down and reflect with yourself. What would it take for me to stop standing this group? What would it take for someone to do? And that threshold is personal. It's different for everybody. Maybe it is actual murder. Maybe it's like a bad tweet from 10 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just up to you, your level of forgiveness and tolerance. But it is pretty toxic to say that literally they are defensible in every regard.
I really hope this person is exaggerating. But this reminds me of a friend. I don't know if I told you this. I have a friend who was really against standing P1 Harmony because Kehoe had been a part of a joint Twitter. Well, okay, so when I asked her why, she said, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think Kehoe is a bad person. So I looked it up because she couldn't even remember what the issue was.
Yeah.
And he had been a part of a joint Twitter where he claims that other users had made some bad comments on that Twitter and it wasn't actually him. Now, whether or not you believe that that's true or maybe he's just trying to save face is your own personal choice. But what I found to be really frustrating is this same person really, really loves Enhypen. And Enhypen in the past couple of years have had some controversies for making like fat phobic comments. So I bring this up in relationship to this tweet because I think people can sometimes be a little hypocritical and kind of pick and choose what they will defend and what they won't defend. Because if you're mad at Kehoe for being a part of this Twitter that made some sus tweets, but you are willing to forgive the Enhypen members for everything they do 24/7, I think that there are double standards there.
Oh, absolutely. Like no one is safe, especially on the internet. Everyone, you can probably like find or discover something that someone has done wrong.
I'm perfect. I've never done anything wrong in my entire
Oh,
life.
absolutely.
You've known me for like 18 years. When have I ever said anything silly? Come on.
Come on now.
So yes, I think this is a 9 out of 10 toxic because I'll go 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite
I
a
think
10.
That's fair. I think you need to set boundaries, I guess.
Yes. You're just going to end up looking like a fool
Yes.
if you keep defending someone. And it's just,
and we don't want that.
This one made me think of you. I legitimately think anyone that doesn't have the same bias as me has bad taste.
Listen. I'm not saying I'm more correct than everyone else.
But
I don't know. I think I have come to understand that everyone has their personal reasons to bias someone. There's no universal standard of what makes someone your bias. It's a very personal choice.
Yeah. For me, it's like part like visuals, right? Visuals always matter. It'd be silly to say that they don't. But I think that a big part of that is, can I relate to this person? Does this person make me feel happy and safe when I consume their content? Do they make me laugh? Do I feel like they're a good person morally? Do they just give me overall positive feelings? And that's complex. So I can't bias a person until I've kind of like watched a lot of their content. But whereas other people, I know that they can bias someone really quickly and they kind of get like a first impression, and usually it's based mostly off looks, and that's okay too. So to say that my taste is better than others isn't even on a level playing field, because what determined that taste isn't even the same for me as it is for them.
Yeah, and it shouldn't, I think it's a really fun, unique experience of, being a K-pop fan, picking your bias out of a group. It was just something that I did not understand at the beginning. Like, my apparent not distaste or dislike. I just don't understand BTS. I didn't when they became
Don't
really
cancel
big over
her.
here. Please don't cancel me. I just didn't understand the appeal of Jimin when everyone was like obsessed with Jimin. And I looked at him and I was like, what about it?
But now you love him?
I you know, I've learned my lesson. Okay. He's just like was not what I expected him to be. But he's actually very cute in the face, and
Yeah,
I think
he's
he's really
adorable.
talented.
I mean,
Yeah.
all the BTS guys are gorgeous. People think that RM is ugly, and I'm like, are we
Who said that? I will
There's
fight
so many
them.
people on the internet that think RM is ugly. They think J-Hope is ugly. I'm like, you better look in the mirror right now and tell me
Right.
you have a leg to stand on compared to these men.
Mhm.
Like, who do you think you are? And I think that apparently it's really common in neurodivergent people like me, but I find most people attractive. Like, I can find good attractive qualities in most people, and I've never really seen a K-pop idol that I thought was unattractive.
Yeah, I mean,
Personally.
whether or not you find them personally attractive, I think they reach the standard of beauty in all ways. There's no such thing as an ugly idol,
Well,
okay? And even they aren't.
on that note, though, one of the sexiest, prettiest mothers of mothers, Hwasa, doesn't technically fit the South Korean standard, and people think that she's obscene and unattractive. And I'm like, what?
She's the one who got the cops called on her?
Yes, I was going to talk about that in another video, but they called the cops on her because her dancing at a college campus was too sensual. The cops.
Obscene. It's so ridiculous.
We've lost the plot. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is toxic because it's like, I think the conclusion we've come to is that this is too subjective of a process to think that your taste is better. It's like having a taste in art and thinking your taste in art is, or taste in movies is the best. I hate pretentious people like that.
There's like no such thing as pretension in K-pop. You just can't do it. Like
Yeah,
you need to leave those.
We're all
predisposition at
cringe.
the door. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This is a cringe activity, and it is very lowbrow for the most part, I would say. Not that it's not good music; it's actually very wonderful. But please do not say that
Are
you
you
have better
saying
taste.
the TikTok edits that I watch when I'm falling asleep at night are lowbrow?
Oh, the memes with the dog barking. Yeah,
Then you can't tell them that that's what I watch. Anyway, this tweet. I don't bark like a dog. Okay, only when Mingy asked me to at the ATEEZ concert. I would give them thinking that their better taste and bias is better than everyone else, like a 7 out of 10 toxic. Speaking of, this is a great segue to this one about looks. This one says, I really can't stand a group that has multiple people that look off or don't have balanced visuals, which I don't really know what balanced visuals even means.
I just think of symmetry. Like apparently people are more attractive when they're symmetrical.
Oh,
but they can't be too
screwed.
symmetrical.
I am so asymmetrical. Don't perceive me. I am so asymmetrical.
Oh,
I don't really know what they mean by an idol looking off, because when I look at idols, I just go pretty. Like my brain just goes pretty, and they know what they're doing. You know, they're finding people that meet this certain standard, even if some people think individuals like Hwasa don't meet that standard, which I just categorically don't agree with. Like everyone already looks so amazing that I have no idea what the hell this user is even talking about.
I am familiar with people maybe feeling some type of way when they're speculating about idols' plastic surgery procedures, and I know people were really turned off by I think it was Nayeon. Apparently, her mouth looked different. I don't know. Not into Twice.
Nayeon from Twice. Let me look it up. I haven't
Yes.
heard anything about this.
Apparently, she changed her mouth, and people stopped liking her smile. I will let you look.
Maybe I shouldn't just Google Nayeon mouth. I should Google like like lip surgery.
Was it Nayeon? It was someone in Twice.
You know, I feel like most idols have had what's called
Who
tweet.
did the pop song?
Nayeon.
Pop. Yeah. Okay. I
Pop,
don't.
pop, want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of idols have had what's called tweakments, right? So like really minor things here and there. And South Korea is like one of the top capitals of surgery in the world. So we also have to understand that the context and the culture around their procedures is very different from even how us in America view it. Even in America, it's becoming a little bit more popularized in the last 10 years, but we still look down upon it. And I come from an interesting perspective because my mother is literally a plastic surgeon. So I've kind of grown up with her, you know, promoting Botox and promoting like little tweakments and breast surgery and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily have a negative opinion on getting surgery, especially when you're in such a highly pressurized circumstance. But I will say that, yeah, sometimes certain procedures can start to like go into the uncanny valley a little bit. Do we think that's what that person means, though?
I mean, you really can't. I'm not going to fill in the blanks for the person because
True.
I do not know them, so I can't assume. I'm not going to give them any benefit of the doubt. Honestly, I think like on its face, this is a pretty toxic tweet.
I think so too. I looked into their profile and they're just really big on aespa. And look, all the aespa girlies are stunning. I know that Karina
Yeah.
in particular is one of the like top rated, most beautiful K-pop idols of our generation, right? And yeah, she's beautiful. But there's lots of beautiful people out there, so I don't really know what they mean. I'm gonna give this
Yeah,
one like
they're
a
gorgeous.
like an 8 out of 10 toxic.
Yeah, expand your horizons, my friend.
So this one is about a fandom growing. I would be the biggest supporter of the group since their Nugu or debut era. But when they hit Daebak, which means like awesome, when they hit their Daebak/famous era, I dropped them. Most probably because the more famous they are, the more toxic the fandom gets.
I get that second part.
Yeah.
You're gonna have more toxic people when you have more fans. That's just math, right? Or whatever. I don't know. But
Ew, math,
that's just
gross.
really sad. Yeah, I mean, I hate numbers, but um, that's just really sad to live your life like that, just like to drop a group because they became more popular. That's no way to live your life.
That happens to streamers all the time. It's not like I'm a huge
Yeah.
streamer, but I literally, as I was growing, I had people saying, hey, I'm not going to be around as often or chat as much because there's more people in your stream. And I prefer to watch smaller streamers. I've had at least 2 or 3 people say that to me, and I'm telling you, I am not big. Like, we're like kind of close to being partnered on Twitch, but I'm not huge in the grand scheme of Twitch, right? But
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's so counterintuitive to the effort that like you would put in or a K-pop group would put in. The point is to be more popular.
Yes, and it particularly bothered me because I try to make sure no matter how many people are in my chat that everyone is seen and valued. And I think that if like K-pop idols learned that they're getting more people interested in them, but some people have this weird psychological complex that they only want to root for the underdog and they only want to know the underground Nugu groups because that makes them cooler. That makes them like the real K-pop stans. Like, oh, that's cute. You like Blackpink. Well, I know XYZ group that just debuted a couple of months ago and they have only like 7 fans. I'm so much better than you. You know, I feel like genuinely people get some sort of self-satisfaction out of that. And again, that's pretentious to me, you know?
Oh, for sure. I get that, wanting to get that level of pride and satisfaction, whatever. But we're talking about K-pop, like literally popular music,
Pop.
like popular Korean pop music. You want to talk real underground, like go to a local show. This is like that's underground, like that's
Yeah.
Nugu or whatever you want to call it. Probably different in different contexts, but like, what I'm saying is, it's like we're talking about like small groups as if they're not like going to be like big sharks if you put them in a smaller, whatever body of water. You know what
I
metaphor
do think
I'm
there
trying
are
to
some really
convey.
small groups though that don't really like Card. You know, Card's going to Atlanta this weekend. I don't know when I'm going to post this on YouTube, but like they're going like July 20 something. And I saw people posting about them on Twitter and they're not selling out shows. It's not as underground as, you know, like your local neighborhood punk band would be, right? But there are some K-pop groups, even like Card, that at least in the West aren't really selling out their shows. And they're going to the Coca-Cola Roxy, which isn't a huge venue. I think Card as well as ATEEZ aren't that big in South Korea. They don't have as big of a Korean fan base, which is just a bummer, of course, because I like both those groups. But I kind of understand where this user is coming from only because the more Stray Kids fans they're like, the more the fandom grows, the harder it's going to be to get tickets and the more expensive these tickets are going to be next time we go to their concert. And I already have like pre-stress about ticketing for whenever they decide to tour here again.
I guess that's interesting to hear because I'm someone who just goes to a lot of shows and I never tend to have a problem getting tickets because that's the thing I prioritize on getting when it comes to following a band or an artist that I like. I will always try to get a concert ticket if I want to see them on tour or if they have a vinyl pressing of something, like that's what I prioritize. And I am willing to accept a more difficult challenge if it means that they're going to be more popular, they're going to be more well known. I think that's a net benefit for us in the end. Maybe harder for me personally to get a ticket that I want, but that's okay. That's just the game. That's just the name of the game.
True, you're not concerned about that effort. I just know that when I got us our tickets, I had to refresh Ticketmaster for over an hour.
Yeah, and I know that's
I'm
hard. You know, I've
stressed.
done that.
Next time we're getting floor seats, though.
Yeah, and I'm willing to, commit some time. It'll take some time and effort to do that, and probably a little extra cash, of course.
Yeah,
But if I'm
yeah.
willing to do that, then that's what
Are you
I'm
saving up
I want to
already?
do.
We gotta save up.
I always have like a fund, I always have a fund for something. Like I have a fund for the light stick and I have a fund for the next concert. It's just like that's just the life I'm living now. I need to have a fund for my children. Except the children is a K-pop group.
For our children. Okay.
For my baby.
I feel like this one is Skizoo check. I think this tweet is I would only give this like a 6 out of 10 toxic. Like I can't tell someone who to stan and if they feel less connected to a group because there's more fans. It is what it is. I think again they're missing out on good music because of these standards and I think it's kind of goofy, but I'm going to give it a 6.
No, I'm definitely way less empathetic. I would give it an 8, and this person needs to grow up.
You heard Mars, grow up. Last one, are you ready?
Yeah.
This one was also kind of severe. I genuinely wish the worst to happen to those who talk on my faves. I literally wish you the worst of the worst.
I get wanting K-pop to be a positive space. We want to lift each other up, and I hate negativity. I think it's a waste of time.
But it's
Why are you making that face?
just because this tweet just blows my mind. Just blows my mind. It makes me think of the meme where one of the Kardashians is like, Kim, there's people dying. Like
Literally.
somebody telling you that they think Jenny is lazy does not mean that you need to wish them the worst of the worst. Like, well, okay, so before we sat down and recorded this attempt, I was at sushi and I actually was on my phone and I saw that there was video evidence of someone trying to point a laser at Stray Kids at the Chinese fan sign. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
So when you
I
point,
didn't know it
like,
actually happened.
yeah, because they were concerned about that and people were threatening it, but there was actually a video of the laser. Maybe someone will debunk the video, but from what I saw, it looked like someone was pointing a laser. It almost hit Chan in the eyes, but they were going for Felix. And a laser, if you guys don't know, a laser in the eye, like a little laser pointer, can cause temporary blindness. And this person had been threatening on Weibo, I think it's called, the Chinese social media. They had been threatening Felix for like a month up until now. That's different. And I don't know, when somebody says talks on my faves, I just perceive that as meaning people who have a different opinion on my faves than, for example, someone who is trying to cause temporary blindness. Like that person needs to maybe spend some time in jail. That's what I would wish on this person. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to sit there and have the most negative thoughts about others. I don't think that's productive.
No, I think that is the crux of it for me. You want to be positive, you want to support your group. I do want to do that in a productive way. I don't think talking bad or like talking down or wishing the worst on people who maybe like have a different opinion from you is like the most productive way to spend your time.
No. Instead, maybe channel that energy into creating positive messages, or if you have their bubble account, sending them messages, or streaming. Go stream the music video over and over again. I think there's like this energy that we feel that understandably so, we get this energy because we like these individuals and want them to be successful and they mean a lot to us. But that energy we feel when we feel wronged, we can put that into things that are far more productive and positive, not just for the community, but also for ourselves. Because I'm a believer that when we surround ourselves with negative energy like this, it just serves to make us feel less than. And I call it poo brain. It gives us poo brain in our brains.
Sure.
It's hard to kind of snap out of that funk. And I worry about a lot of K-pop stands that they're just kind of on the internet this entire time, just like circling down the drain of this negativity.
Yeah, I love positive content. I love positive comments on Instagram and TikTok from groups I like and groups I don't particularly care for. It does bring me some warmth inside my cold heart. But otherwise, like, I don't have time to wish negativity upon people who want to bring negativity to the space. It's like, just ignore it,
Yep.
Just
As I said
delete it.
earlier, block.
Yeah.
Block. It's so simple. It takes literally 2 seconds. If that's anything to take away from this, is just block people that annoy you. I promise. The people that are online that are like, blocking me is a sign of weakness. No, you're annoying. I'm going to block you and I'm going to go about my day and eat some ice cream, okay? Get over it. So that one is like 10 out of 10 toxic for me.
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like, maybe you need to step away from the K-pop, like step away from the album.
Yeah. Well, that's all the tweets I had since we cut down a little bit. And hopefully my microphone was on this entire time. Please, for the love of God, please. We can't record this a third time.
We can't.
We'll lose our minds. If you liked this content and you want to see a part 2, let me know. We're thinking that our next podcast style with the two of us is going to be us tier ranking K-pop names. So like, what do we feel about different names? And which is a conversation we started talking about revolving around Zero Base One, but we will save that for the next time.
Yeah.
But thank you so much if you got this far into the video. I really appreciate it. Like I said, if you haven't done so already, please consider dropping a like. Leave a comment. Do you agree or disagree with anything we have said today? I'm so curious how you guys felt about these toxic opinions. So some were more toxic than others. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content from me as well as my friend Mars in the future. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.